They're opening on what feels like every other corner in America. Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, small, plain, rectangular boxes that most investors drive right past. But the dollar store has quietly become the single most popular entry point into net lease real estate. Here's the economics of owning one, why it's so recession resistant, and what every buyer needs to watch before they sign. Start with the business model because it's brilliantly simple. A dollar store is a small box discount retailer, usually 7 to 10,000 square feet, that sells everyday essentials at low price points. It thrives where big box stores won't go. Small towns, rural highways, and dense urban pockets. Low rent, lean staffing, no frills. It's convenience retail for value conscious shoppers, and it works in almost any market. The real estate is small and inexpensive, which is exactly the appeal. Dollar General alone operates roughly 20,000 stores and keeps building. Because the buildings are modest, a single store often trades for just $1 to $1.5 million, one of the lowest entry points in all of net lease real estate. That's how a first-time investor gets a nationally credited tenant without writing a $10 million check. Why do net lease investors love this category? Because it gets stronger when times get hard. When budgets tighten, shoppers trade down, and the dollar store is where they trade down too. Sales often hold up or even grow in a recession. It's one of the few retail models that's genuinely counter-cyclical, and that defensiveness is worth a lot to an income investor. It also sidesteps the Amazon problem. The dollar store sells small basket, fill-in trips, a few household items someone needs today, at prices too low to ship profitably, and many sit in rural communities that e-commerce serves poorly and that big box chains ignore. Necessity goods, low prices, convenient locations. That combination has kept these stores remarkably insulated from online competition. And here's what makes the category so liquid for investors. The growth never stops. The major chains open hundreds, sometimes over 1,000 new stores in a single year. Most are built to suit and immediately sold to net lease investors. That steady pipeline of brand new 15-year leased buildings means there's almost always fresh product to buy and a deep market of buyers when you go to sell. For the passive investor, the structure is the whole point. A dollar store is built to suit and leased on a long-term net lease. The retailer runs the store. The corporate parent guarantees the rent, and you simply own the building and collect a check. It's about the most hands-off way there is to own a piece of net leased retail with a national tenant behind it. Initial terms typically run 15 years, backed by the corporate guarantee, with options that carry roughly 10% rent bumps. One important nuance: not every dollar store lease is absolute triple net. Some are double net, where the landlord keeps responsibility for the roof and structure. Always read the lease. Knowing exactly which expenses are yours versus the tenant's can swing your real return. Pricing reflects both the credit and the low price point. Dollar General, an investment grade tenant, trades around 6.25 to 7.25%. Dollar Tree runs slightly higher. Family Dollar, which has worked through real store closure problems, trades higher still to compensate for the added risk. With most deals near $1 million to $1.5 million, the dollar store remains the classic first NNN purchase. Within the category, the names are not interchangeable. Dollar General carries an investment grade credit rating and the steadiest store performance. The Dollar Tree family, which includes Family Dollar, has faced more financial pressure and a wave of store closures. That doesn't make them uninvestable. It just means you must be paid for the extra risk with a higher cap rate and a hard look at that specific store's health. Which brings us to the main risk. These are small buildings in often secondary locations, and the chains do close underperforming stores. sometimes by the hundreds. If your tenant goes dark, a generic small box on a rural road can be slow and tough to release. The defenses are simple but essential. Favor the strongest credit, study the individual store's sales, and never overpay for a remote location just because the cap rate looks juicy. As with any net lease, look past the tenant to the dirt. The best dollar store deals sit on visible corners in growing trade areas, not just isolated rural pull-offs. A well-located small box has releasing options, a different discount retailer, a quick service tenant, a medical user. In a high-growth state like Florida, even modest commercial parcels on good roads tend to appreciate, which quietly backstops the whole investment. Putting it together, the dollar store is the on-ramp to net lease investing, a low price point, a national tenant, recession and e-commerce resistance, and a deep liquid market. The keys are tenant credit, the exact lease structure, and the quality of the location. For a first-time net lease buyer or a 1031 investor splitting proceeds across several properties, few assets are as accessible. Dollar stores prove that the smallest, plainest buildings can be the smartest first step into passive real estate. The economics reward investors who weigh tenant credit, lease structure, and location. If you're evaluating dollar store or single tenant net lease retail in Central Florida, that is exactly what we do at MaxLife Commercial. The link to connect is in the description.